Everyone knows about the cute and wondrous mythical creatures like fairies and unicorns, but are you aware of some of the darker and scarier beasts of legend? Here are 8 terrifying mythical creatures from around the world. Number 8. The Vodník. The Vodník creature comes from Czech fairy tales. According to lore, vodníci, the plural of vodnik, are water sprites that can be found near bodies of water like lakes and ponds. They are typically depicted as green men dressed like vagrants. They have green skin and long green hair, bulging eyes, and beards. Sometimes vodníci are also said to have gills, webbed hands, and feet. Although they can be helpful and resourceful, vodníci are typically seen as evil creatures who try to cause humans harm. People are advised to be wary of vodníci as they are cunning and tricky. They have been said to lure small girls into the water with ribbons and small trinkets. Furthermore, they like to target inexperienced swimmers or even shapeshift to draw people into the water to drown them. They then trap the human souls in a magical jar they keep at the bottom of their watery home. The nicer sprites are known to help millers with their work, or they simply sit around near the water, smoke their pipes, and even play the violin. How nice, until they change their mind and kill you. You should typically avoid these creatures, and if you see a strange green man near your local lake, be sure to steer clear. Number 7. Bunyip. The Bunyip is a creature of Aboriginal origin. It is also referred to as the Kianpreti, and its name means devil or evil spirit. Depictions of the creature vary, but it is described by many as looking like a dog with dark fur, flippers, a duckbill, tusks, and a horse's tail. It is also thought to have scales or feathers, depending on who you ask. According to legends, the Bunyip lives in swamps, creeks, and other shallow bodies of water, even wells. They feed on children and livestock who get too close to the water's edge. They also hunt for women and children at night because they love the taste of soft flesh. Many have been skeptical of the Bunyip's existence, as the only potential evidence of Bunyips was an unidentified skull discovered along a river in New South Wales, Australia in the mid-1800s. The skull went on display at the Australian Museum in Sydney, but mysteriously disappeared several days later before further research could be performed. Currently, researchers believe that other animals are simply being mistaken for the mythical bunyip, such as giant otters or an undiscovered marsupial or seal. In any case, its mythic status continues. Number 6. The Chupacabra. Next up comes a popular but fairly recent mythical creature compared to the others. In 1995, in Puerto Rico, farmers were perplexed by the number of livestock being killed at night. Over 150 farm animals were killed between March and August of that year, and eyewitnesses all blamed the Chupacabra. They described the creature as being roughly 3 or 4 feet tall and standing on its hind legs. It had a green reptilian body, large oval head, and bulging red eyes. It also had fanged teeth, a long tongue, sharp claws, and spines going down its head and back. The Chupacabra got its name from the way it feasts on livestock. The name Chupacabra is derived from the Spanish words chupar, meaning to suck, and cabra, meaning goat. Reports stated that the victims had no meat missing from them, but instead had 3 puncture marks on their necks, and they were almost completely drained of blood. The farmers suffered such heavy losses that Mayor José Soto of Canóvanas, Puerto Rico, recruited volunteers and organized weekly parties to find and kill the creature. This allegedly went on for at least a year, but to no avail. Many people believe that the Chupacabra has been around much longer than we think. The ancient Mayans had stories about a creature called Camazots, or death bat. It was also described as a reptile on its hind legs with 2 arms and a long snout for sucking blood from animals. Could the Chupacabra be more than a horrifying myth? Number 5. Blemies. This next creature is disturbing not for its behavior or its lethality, but for its unique appearance. The blemies was first documented over 2,500 years ago by the Greek historian Herodotus. He wrote that they were headless creatures with eyes and mouths in their chests. However, it was not Herodotus that gave them the name Blemies. The name Blemies was featured in a work by the 1st century Greek geographer Strabo. Unlike Herodotus, he did not describe them as creatures, but rather as a tribe of nomadic people inhabiting an area in Libya along the Nile River. However, there are reports of such a creature living everywhere around the world. Blemier were documented during the medieval times in the travels of Sir John Mandeville, but Mandeville places them on an island in Asia, not in Africa. Meanwhile, the great English explorer Sir Walter Raleigh spoke of strange creatures with no head, but with eyes on their shoulders and a large mouth on their torso. He stated that they lived in South America. None of these men ever actually witnessed a Blemies, but rather wrote their accounts based on hearsay. Plus, with all the confusion about maps during those times, it's easy to get confused as to where this tribe or mysterious creature could have been located. If it did, it would truly be a disturbing sight. Number 4. The Mongolian deathworm. In the vast sands of the Gobi Desert lives a creature that, according to many, is too dangerous to even consider approaching: the Mongolian deathworm. Locals refer to it as Olgoy korkoi, which roughly translates to large intestine worm, which makes sense given its description. It is said to be dark red in color with spikes on either end of it. It has no eyes but a large round mouth and is said to grow up to a little over 3 feet in length. The creature supposedly spends most of its time buried beneath the sand while it waits for prey, but some claim to have spotted it above ground before. Reports state that it shoots up from the ground to attack its prey, which can include camels, smaller rodents, and even people. What makes this such a dangerous and fearsome creature is not its hunting habits, but its methods of killing. Allegedly, the deathworm can spit acidic venom that is almost instantly fatal to anything that comes in contact with it. It is also believed to be able to deliver a fatal electrical shock to its prey from a distance. Many researchers and cryptozoologists have attempted to find evidence of the Mongolian deathworm, but they have always come up short. At one point, the Mongolian government even made it illegal to search for the worm, but eventually that ban was lifted. Could it have been because they feared the worm was so dangerous, or because they did not want the public searching for a creature that doesn't exist? We may never know for sure. Number 3. The Jorogumo. The Jorogumo is a type of yokai or supernatural monster or spirit in Japanese folklore. The name itself literally means binding woman, which is fitting given that it is often depicted as a spider that takes on the appearance of a beautiful seductress. It uses its looks to entice and ultimately devour young men. According to legends, when a spider lives to be 400 years old, it gains magic powers that allow it to grow and shapeshift, helping it to hunt for humans. They are said to spin silk strong enough to easily trap fully grown men. They also have a potent venom that can weaken their victims gradually so they can relish in their suffering. They also have the power to control smaller spiders, using them to do their bidding. Other stories state that they can disguise their webs as homes and will play music on a biwa, a stringed instrument much like a lute, or sing to seduce men. The music serves to distract the unsuspecting victims while they spin their spider silk around them in order to devour them later. Similarly to the Vodník, Jorogumo are particularly known for living near water. In Izu City, Shizuoka, Japan, it is believed that there is a legendary spider mistress living in Jordan Falls. Number 2. The Minotaur. This zealous killer from Greek mythology, the Minotaur, was the offspring of Pasiphae, the wife of King Minos, and a bull gifted to Minos by Poseidon. The bull was supposed to be sacrificed by Minos, but instead he decided to keep it and sacrificed a different bull. Angered by the king's disrespect, Poseidon made Pasiphae fall in love with the bull as punishment, and they had an affair, and she gave birth to a half-man, half-bull hybrid. The Minotaur was a truly monstrous creature once it reached maturity. It was a beast of incredible stature with the head of a bull and the body of a man. Because it was neither a full man nor bull, he could find no suitable foods and began resorting to devouring humans for sustenance. King Minos went to an oracle to seek advice. The oracle told him to build a labyrinth for the Minotaur to live inside. The creature would receive yearly sacrifices of young men who would navigate the maze and try to fight the Minotaur, only to be slain and eaten. The town lived in terror, and families were terrified of losing their young sons to the Minotaur because of the king. It wasn't until an Athenian hero named Theseus came along that it was defeated. Number 1. The Wendigo. The final creature on this list is definitely one that will send shivers down your spine. Roughly translated, the word wendigo means evil spirit that devours mankind. This creature is often associated with winter, famine, and cannibalism. There are varying depictions of wendigos. Some claim it has the head of a deer or wolf. Generally, though, they are described as gaunt giants standing nearly 15 feet tall with glowing eyes, yellow skin, and long fangs and tongues. They appear to be so impossibly thin and sickly that many say they resemble decaying corpses. Wendigos are malevolent spirits that prey on humans who have committed cannibalism. It is believed that anyone who has resorted to cannibalism, even for survival, becomes vulnerable to possession by these spirits. Once possessed, they transform into the horrific creature and hunger insatiably for human flesh. It is said that wendigos thrive in harsh environments, particularly in snowy landscapes where food is scarce. This places any people in those areas at risk of committing cannibalism and being transformed into a monster. Unfortunately, there is no known way to turn them back into people after the transformation. Death is the only way to free a person from a wendigo spirit, so in order to kill the wendigo, the person must die as well. In 1907, a Cree man was actually arrested for murdering a woman. He claimed she was being taken over by a wendigo and had to be killed before she became a harm to others. The man also claimed to have hunted and killed 13 other wendigos in his lifetime. What's your favorite mythical creature? Let us know in the comments below. Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!